Hey everybody. Hi Rachel, how you doing? Get your attention. Good evening everyone. Welcome. Welcome. How was the food? Food was good? How were the mixed drinks? Be honest, be brutal with me. Is anyone standing straight still? What's that?
I'll be the bartender.
Yeah, okay, thank you. You'll volunteer next time. Rabbis and bartenders don't go. It's not a good mix. Right? That's true. Okay, good. Let me start with a story. There is a story told. A story told about a small shtetl, small Jewish village in Russia. And this small shtetl, they had one cow. It's a very poor shtetl, and they had one cow, and this cow would be the cow that would give milk for the entire shtetl. And one day, tragedy struck. The cow died, and there was no milk. They didn't know what to do. They needed milk. They needed another cow. So the elders of the town got together and they looked where they can get another cow, and they found there were two cows. One cow was available. It was a cow from Moscow, but it cost 2,000 ruble. Another cow from Minsk. So at 500 rubles, they discussed it. They really were stretched for money. They said, we're going to go with the cow from Minsk. That's what happened. They bought the cow from Minsk, 500 rubles. They got it down, and the cow was wonderful. It was giving them all the milk they needed. It was fantastic. They had all the milk they needed, and double, and even triple. They had tons of milk. It was fantastic. This cow was great. So they said, we have to get, breed the cow. They said, others like this. So they went and they bought a steer, a bull, to breed with this cow. They bought a bull to breed with the cow. And what happened was, if they tried to breed, they bring the bull this way, the cow would run that way. They bring the bull this way, the cow would run that way. This way, the cow would go. And they know what's going on. They're going crazy. They said, let's go to the rabbi. So go to the rabbi. I said, Rabbi, we got a big problem here. We know what's going on. We tried to breed the cow with the bull. Every time we bring the bull here, the cow runs that way. Bring the bull here, the cow runs that way. He strokes his beard, thinks and says, tell me, is this cow from Minsk? I say, Rabbi, that's amazing. That's uncanny. How did you know? We didn't tell you it was from Minsk. How did you know? He looks dejected and says, well, because my wife is from Minsk. No, I can't say that one from the pulpit, so I had to say it here. I'm sorry. But there is a point. There is a point. The point is, sometimes in life, things don't go the way you want. The cow dies, you can give milk, whatever's the story. Things sometimes go bad. And how do you relate to that? Okay? And tonight what I want to take some very Kabbalistic ideas, but I want to make them very, very practical. Okay? Some very, very deep ideas that will be very user-friendly to see very deep topics. So let's start. I want to ask you a question. Let's go on an emotional level first. Has anyone here ever had a run-in with the neighborhood bully? Come on. There's no one from New York here? The rest of you from New York? Come on. Okay, there we go. There we go. Some people. Now, I want you to imagine a moment. Imagine. If you haven't had a run-in, you must have known someone, you saw a movie about it. I want you to imagine that when the neighborhood bully comes over to you, and he grabs you, you're back there in school, and he pulls your hair and says, give me your lunch money. I want you to imagine, instead of giving in, you say, not this time, buddy. You know why? Because my father owns the school. The bully says, yeah? Okay, fantastic. You better not step outside of the school. If you step outside and I see you walking around Sandy Springs, you are finished. You say, wrong again. My father owns Sandy Springs. Okay, but if you leave Sandy Springs, you go anyplace out in Atlanta, you're finished. Leave the perimeter, you're mine. You say, wrong again. My father owns Atlanta. He owns the whole United States. How would you feel if you could say it? It starts with delusion. How would you feel, Eric? Arrogant? Who said arrogant? How come arrogant?
Literally not true.
I qualified the delusional already. It's not true. But let's say it was true a moment. How would it make you feel? Say what? Imagine it was true a moment. Powerful. You feel presently in power. Right? Any other feelings that you might have? Powerful, anything else?
Secure.
What's that?
Secure.
Secure. Tremendous security. Wherever you go, you feel a certain sense of security, empowerment. Exactly right. Now I want to share with you an amazing idea. Rabbis tell us that when you have a homonym in Hebrew, there is a connected meaning. So there's a word when you feel that security, when you can rely on someone. It's called lismoch. Somech. Lismoch. Does anyone know in Hebrew what the word lismoch sounds like? Which Hebrew words does it sound like? Sameach. Sameach. Why? Because there's a connection. If you feel you could lean on someone, rely on someone so thoroughly, you will feel simcha, you feel happiness. It's connected. Now, how does that work? How does that work? I'm trying to understand it tonight. But I want to ask you a question. Who do you think you could feel you can rely on so much? Family, right? That makes you happy. You rely on family, friends. But it's limited. The ultimate would be if you could feel you could rely on what? On Hashem, on an omnipotent being, on God. Okay? But I want to ask you the question, let's be honest tonight. Do we feel we can rely on God? Let me explain to you why. I tell you, I had a student who took a job in Texas. His first day on the job, he was driving down the road, and he wanted to put on a radio station to see what they talked about in Texas. He put on a radio station, and he got a preacher, call-in show. And the guy called in the preacher and said, "Preacher, I got a question. I don't understand. Why is there suffering in the world? There's so much pain and heartache and suffering in the world. Why is that?" And he asked him, it's a fair question, right? And this is what the preacher answered. He said to him like this, and I quote, he says, "That's only a question if you're a Jew." This is true. Why? Because a Jew believes it all comes from God. We say the devil did it. Now, I'm not coming to make fun of anyone, but that is a very, very deep philosophical issue that every single religion deals with. Every religion deals with it. You have to deal with it. If you talk about a God that is omnipotent and benevolent, how come the world looks like it does? There's suffering, there's tragedy. How can you feel you can rely if there's such difficulty in the world? How could that be? Some people have the alternative. They say, well, the devil did it. There is a force that fights God that is the force of negativity. From a Jewish perspective, you know what that is? That's called idolatry. It's idolatry. Why? Because from a Jewish perspective, this preacher was right. He was right. A Jewish concept is it all comes from God. He's in complete control. And now we're stuck. If God's in complete control and He's all good, then why is there such difficulty in the world? How does that happen? How could that be? How could I feel I could lean, depend, be empowered, I could trust God if the world looks like it does? That's the question. It's a fair question. Good question? Right? It's a fair question. So to understand, I want to do a little biological sketch of a Jewish person that had a view in life that was so much so that he could rely on God. Whatever he did, he always felt like to trust and rely. Does anyone know who that person might be? Any ideas? Who might be this person that felt in Jewish history so much so, whatever happened was bad, he somehow still felt he could rely on God? Anyone know?
No.
Abraham? Abraham's a great call. Abraham, who's our forefather, tremendous. That's right. Job? Who's that Job? Now, Job is a very interesting one. First of all, I don't know if people realize, Job, according to most commentators, is not even Jewish. I think the first thing wants bubble here. But Job, according to most commentators, he's not even Jewish. Now, that doesn't mean that he didn't do this wonderfully. He did. Job is a very righteous person. He's a very righteous person, and he did trust in God. But Job is one person who actually lost it a little bit. And I'm not coming to judge Job. shouldn't judge that. But Job, at a certain point, when the sufferings became very great, he actually did start to lash out. King David, 100%. King David, people don't realize King David, we imagine him sitting there in the crowd, he's sitting there driving around in his Jaguar, having a great old time. He had a tough life. His son rebelled against him to kill him.